Hey guys, we're here again today at HardRacing, and today we're going to be doing a clear taillight with integrated signal upgrade by Custom LED. It's going to get rid of all this garbage here on the sides and integrate your turn signals into the actual taillight. So you have LED yellow flashing on this side when you're taking left and this side when you're taking right. And that way you can get rid of these big old honking ugly stuff, or put on some short stocks if you wanted to clean it up and have both turn signal here and there. But either way, it cleans all this up, makes it look really tight. It's clear, basically it's a lot brighter. It's fully programmable. It's just overall a better setup. It's plug and play. So basically OEM fit, OEM plugs, and the last wire is this program wire, which we'll show you later on. But basically you can program how bright this goes. You can program how long it stays on and what it does when you hit the brakes. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can program, which makes it really cool. It's not, a lot of other taillights on the market is you get it what it is, and it is, there's nothing you can do to adjust anything, where this thing is fully programmable to your liking. You can put it in demo mode, so when you go hang out somewhere with your buddies, you can flip it on and it does all the different features. It's really a trick light. So we'll show you how quick and easy it is to install it today. It only takes about 5 minutes. Pop this off here, slap that thing in there, put the HD relay, because that's the one thing. Whenever you switch out halogen lights to LEDs, you got to put a relay in there so that way it doesn't blink fast, or sometimes doesn't even blink at all. Pretty much that's the way it is with every motorcycle on the planet, just about.
So the relay is located underneath the tank, and if you have small hands like mine, you can reach up under the tank and release the relay from the bracket. Just like so. So if you can't access the relay like I did, then the other option is to remove the seat, and then that will allow you access to the tank bolt. So you're not trying to remove the tank or really lift it up too much. All you're trying to do is just give you a little bit more room to get your hand up under there to access the relay. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take the 6mm Allen and remove these two front bolts. Okay, so once you have those two bolts removed, you just take the seat and slide it backwards and it'll pop right off. So next you just take off the back tank bolt. So now what you're going to do is take just a small piece of cardboard like we did, slide it underneath the tank so that you don't scratch your frame, and then you're going to take the tank and just kind of work it backwards and remove it from the rubber grommets, and this will give you enough room to access that relay. So now once it's freed, as you can see, I've got a little bit more room, so it gives you the ability to access that relay a little better. Okay, so when you take the relay off, you want to take the rubber boot with it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's this piece right here, and it slides right off. And if this rubber boot's not on the relay, it's still on the bracket, the tank bracket. So just slide your hand up there, remove this boot off of that bracket, and put it on the new relay. Then once you get it on the relay, plug it in. Relay back up onto that metal bracket. So the next step is you're going to use just small Phillips head screwdriver to remove these two small screws. Next you want to take your screwdriver and push on these two push tabs on the front to release those. And you want to press up in the middle of it, and that releases the middle of it, and then you pull it down and it comes right out. Yeah.
So now that you've removed that black plastic cover, this will give you access to the 3 10mm bolts for your taillight. Now make sure you're releasing your taillight bolts and not your fender bolts.
So you'll know the difference because the taillight bolts have these little acorn style heads.
So next you want to unplug your taillights and the bullet connectors for your turn signals. So once you do that, you should be able to pull your whole tail light assembly out.
And just carefully feed them through that hole. Don't pull them or rip them out. Okay, so next you want to remove this cover so you can access the back of the taillight. So once you get the screws out, just go ahead, flip it over, and pull that cover off, just like so. Then that allows you access to these nuts to remove the taillight. Obviously, I already loosened these, which is why I'm able to loosen them myself without a wrench. So now you just slide the taillight out, and again, be careful pulling the wires out, just in case you have to switch your taillight back at some point in time. So this is where if you remove the stock turn signals like we're doing, and just use an 8mm wrench to remove the turn signals. So next you are going to slide your taillight in, just like so. Push it through, and you're going to say, oh, look at all that space I've got, or gap. And then you're going to take your spacers that are provided with the kit, slide them in on the, and then you're going to take and put the nuts on, and there you go. Nice secure fit. And you don't need to crank the crap out of these. Obviously, you're not trying to torque it down. You just need to have it secured. So tighten it enough. And for extra security, you can always add blue Loctite. So what I was trying to say here is you've got metal on plastic tab. All you're trying to do is just tighten it down, but not break it, obviously.
Ready?
All right, so next, go ahead and put this black cover back on it. And make sure the wires are pulled through, just like I show you here. Next, you want to go ahead and line your taillight up. Put the wires through first. Set it up on the gasket. Make sure not to pinch the wires. And mount that like so. And then put the nuts back on and screw those in tightly. So once you've tightened these nuts down, the next step is to hook up the wires. Taillight plug's pretty obvious. And you press it in until it clicks, and then pull this little boot back around it, like so. So you're going to see 4 bullet connectors, but only 2 wires. And you're probably saying, okay, what's going on? So you only use the power wires, not the ground wires any longer, because the ground is run through the taillight. So you take the green wire from the taillight and connect it to the blue wire from the harness. And then you take the brown wire from the taillight and connect it to the orange wire from the harness. And so now you're saying, what's this last wire here? That's actually your program wire.
All right, so basically the program wire just gets grounded when you programming it. So the steps in the directions that show you how to program it basically are just taking this wire and touching it to metal. So if you touched it once, that's 1. If you touch it twice, that's 2. The program wire really only gets used initially when you first install the taillight. After that, you're generally not going to ever use it. So if you choose to, you have 2 options. You can just program it by touching it to metal, or you can install the enclosed toggle switch. Now, obviously, if you're going to be playing a lot with the programming and you want to be able to access the features a lot easier and stuff, then attach this toggle switch to the wire. The other end goes anywhere ground on your frame, and then you're just going to take that toggle switch to program the taillight. So it works like a light switch, on, off, on, off. But basically all it's doing is just grounding that wire. If you aren't going to use it that much and you really don't want to go through the hassle of trying to figure out where to mount this and all that kind of stuff, then when you're programming it, just touching it to the metal is going to do the same thing as flipping that toggle switch. So what you would want to do is program the taillight before you button up the bottom little plastic piece by touching it to the metal, following the directions, and then once you're done programming it and everything's the way you like it, then go ahead and put that little plastic cover on it. And you can always pull it off later on and do the same thing again if you wanted to reprogram it. But generally speaking, we've had this taillight on all our other bikes, our Groms and other bikes. Once you program it, generally speaking, you're just going to leave it and you're never going to do it again. So again, there's personal preference on how much you think you're going to be programming the light, but it's just your choice whether you want to just leave it like this and just touch it to metal to program it, or install the included toggle switch. Either way, it does the same thing. Alright, here's what it looks like all installed. As you can see, much cleaner looking. The taillight being clear lens, blends in a lot better, looks more aesthetically pleasing, and obviously no more big old honk and turn signals hanging off the sides. And when you turn it on, here's what it's going to look like. As you can see, it's got a nice little starting sequence. Now just take note that the brightness isn't going to come through very well on video because the iris on the camera always shrinks down when the bright lights come on, so it really doesn't do it justice until you see it in person how much brighter it is than stock. But it is a huge improvement over stock. You'll definitely notice a big difference. And of course, because it's fully programmable, you can choose how bright you want it, and all the different sequences and how it starts up and what it does when you hit the brake lights. All that stuff is going to be fully programmable, and we don't have that in this video because we already did it all the exact same for the Grom. So we're going to have a link below that shows you where to go to watch the Grom programming part of it, but it's basically the exact same thing as far as programming. But here's what the light looks like when you hit the brake lights. As you can see, a lot brighter, and also sequences when you let go, and then when you hit them again. So any extra flashing or something to say, hey, I'm braking, is always a good thing when you have some stupid car behind you who isn't paying attention. That's the kind of whole point of this taillight, is to attract a little more attention when people are riding behind you so they can see you. And here's what it looks like when you turn your left signal on. As you can see, it completely turns off the taillight on the left side, so you get a full flash yellow and on and off. A lot of the cheaper quality taillights will leave the running light on and the yellow kind of gets blurred out and you almost can't see it, and you turn it off, it turns back on the taillight. Same thing for the right side. So again, that's kind of like, the quality of this, it's made here in the USA, Custom LEDs, US company. It's not sourced in China or anything. So the quality, the brightness of these LEDs is just far superior to all the other brands out there. In our opinion, it's definitely the best on the market, and that's why we use them on all our bikes and why we carry them. But definitely overall, you just can't beat the quality of the stuff. And if you have any other questions or comments, please go ahead and leave them down below in the comment section. If you liked the video, if you didn't like it, just leave a comment. And if you have other ideas to put in future videos, please go ahead and leave those as well. Thumbs up. And of course, please subscribe to our channel. Help us support the channel, which helps us bring you more great content and videos like this one. And if you have any questions or need help with anything, feel free to send us an email. We're on Instagram, Facebook, forums. And of course, be sure to check out our website at hardracing.com.